the footsteps would get closer and closer until that person felt that spirit or entity right on top of them. Shalom YouTube family, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome to the family. In today's video, we got a really important topic that I want to talk about. It's going to be a part 2 of the video that we created, African Americans facing spiritual warfare in Tanzania, Africa. The specific topic that we're going to discuss today is dealing with witchcraft and sleep paralysis. Now, there has been a lot of spiritual warfare going on, I would say, since we came out here to Tanzania. And I've heard many stories of people dealing with demonic attacks. The first story I'm going to share with y'all is dealing with a person that's been out here in Tanzania for a while. And this particular person had someone come move in with them a while back. This person would sometimes have people stay in their house and rent out a room because they had extra space where they were living. So there was this one particular family that moved in with this person, and immediately they has all type of drama and issues that arose within the house. So they came to agreement that the person should end up leaving, and the person left. Right after the family left the house, the owner went around and was just kind of checking on things, making sure everything was up to par, checked the rooms that they were staying in, and noticed that there were seashells all in the cabinets and all around the rooms that they were staying in, which was odd because why would they be seashells just randomly in the house? I know we're by beaches being in Tanzania, but it's still kind of weird to have them everywhere in the house like it was. So that same night, the owner ended up going to sleep in the house and pretty much forgot about it. Soon after falling asleep, the owner said that they heard some strange noises outside, which was kind of typical being in the area that that person stayed in because it can get loud at night. But this was different. This person said that they heard footsteps walking all throughout the house until it eventually came closer and closer and closer until it came into the room that that person was sleeping in. And then the footsteps would get closer and closer until that person felt that spirit or entity right on top of them. The person didn't want to see what or who it was, so they put the cover over top of their head and kind of hid from the situation. But that was something that never happened in the house until the family ended up leaving and them seeing the seashells. And unfortunately, it didn't just stop with that night. Every night or every other night, it seemed like something different was happening. That person said they could actually look over and see a silhouette of this being or figure that didn't have a face, didn't really have a real appearance, but just a silhouette. But the facial features, and you couldn't see it. It was pretty much like a shadow, or it was black. And they were in a paralysis state, meaning they were laying down, they was aware of everything that was happening around them, but they couldn't move and they couldn't scream. So it was basically just torture. And all that person can do is pretty much just look and turn their head and see what was staring them seemingly right in the face. It was an evil, demonic presence and spirit that was in this particular person's house. And after the person told me this story and all of these things transpired, I could see the terror on their face. You could tell that that person was really spooked out by what was going on because it never happened to them before. So that's story number one. Another story I heard, which it didn't take place right here in Tanzania, but it took place within another African country, and I met the person in Tanzania. But basically, that person told me that they met a person out in the country, other African country that they were at, and this person seemed to be, you know, a down-to-earth, good person. But then they started to notice little strange things about what that person was doing. For example, that person would ask my friend to bring their kids to their house, but they couldn't come to the house with them. Also, my friend noticed at this person's house that they had all type of books with like spells and other strange things that point toward witchcraft, to be honest. And it was a little bit strange, to say the least. Now, fast forward sometime after meeting this particular woman, one day this woman was with her and was telling her, was kind of rushing, you know, her off and rushing other people off because this person wanted to go see, the lady wanted to go see the blood moon. And my friend wasn't sure about why she wanted to go see the blood moon or what it was for, but it seemed a little bit odd. And another thing was, this person would invite, you know, my friend to go do yoga and certain things at the beach every morning and meditate on certain things that was outside of what my friend was used to doing. So let's fast forward when my friend started having also kind of similar demonic attacks in their life. And it seems to all happen at night, you know, late at night. So one night my friend said that they were sleeping and woke up to a bright light, almost like like LED, like bright light that would come closer and closer to them as they were in the bed. And once again, it freaked my friend the hell out, like freaked them out. And it continued to happen, you know, night in and night out. And it seemed to start happening once again when my friend met this person. You see the pattern? You meet a person and then certain things start happening in your life. But on with the story. My friend also said that at the time they were, you know, engaging in smoking marijuana and used to get the marijuana from this lady also. So another night when this spiritual attack happened, my friend said that she used to keep like a weed jar in, I can't remember if they said in the room, but at the time they could see the weed jar. And all of a sudden the weed jar flies off the counter and shatters into pieces without anybody touching it, just out of nowhere. And that same light was present. And so all of these attacks continued until she stopped dealing with that particular person and cut them off completely. Now, both of these stories have two things in common, and that is they let somebody in their life that seemed to be a little odd, and once they let this particular person in their life, these demonic and spiritual attacks started happening in their life. And with the second story in particular, once they cut that person off, then these demonic attacks subsided. And this brings me to what I want to talk about today and my point. First, I want to say be careful of who you bring and what you bring into your life, because the spiritual realm is serious and people do demonic things and rituals, you know, to the ones that open themselves up to it. It's people really practicing witchcraft out here. It's people really casting spells on one another. And I feel like that's something that's not really being talked about out here in Africa. But a lot of people might deal with these spiritual and demonic attacks. And a lot of times people might not even realize that the person that they might be dealing with is a witch or doing demonic things that could be affecting that person's life. We know in Africa that witchcraft is a pretty big thing out here. And, you know, a lot of people don't engage also, as many Christians and Muslims that, you know, don't engage within it, but also they have that group of people that does. And it's all type of rituals and spells and demonic practices that these people are engaged in. And if you're a person that's trying to walk in a righteous manner, then you have to have discernment with the type of people that you bring into your life. You also have to be careful with the things that you're listening to, the things that you're seeing, and even with things that you're eating, because these are all gateways that can open you up to demonic influence. A witch is not always going to come looking like a witch or saying things like a witch. But most of the times I've heard that these people are some of the most nice, down-to-earth people that they've met, you know? So they won't always be in like little cloaks and hoods and look strange, but could be look like regular people just like me and you, but behind closed doors, you know, you don't really know what they're doing. So you really have to be careful, because if not, then these things could happen to you. You know, a lot of people don't talk about these things, but it happens to so many people. Not just here, but everywhere around the world. You know, I've heard stories of some of my family members going through the exact same thing, where they would go through sleep paralysis, where they couldn't move, and the stories all kind of sound the same. They would see a silhouette of a figure, of a shape of something that was in the silhouette of a man, but didn't have like a face, or some would come out this person's face like spiders or whatever that it might be, and it would spook the person like tremendous. So as a people, you know, of the Most High, we have to really be making sure that we're in prayer and in fasting and praying for discernment, because it can literally happen to anybody, you know, and you won't realize it until it might be too late. One thing I know for sure, that if you are constantly in prayer and you are casting out demons and witches and spiritual and demonic entities in Yahushua's name, then all of these things can happen. You know, the scriptures talk about you have the power to cast out these things. You have to believe that you can do it, and you have to be praying diligently and living in a way to where you are not even letting these spirits, you know, I would say inside your inner matrix, you know, you're not opening yourself up to these things, because it's once you open yourself up, it can be very, very hard to break these strongholds and this demonic presence. The spirit realm is real, like, and you need to be on guard at all times, because if you're not, you can open yourself up to the demonic realm, and you do not want to be in that. So once again, stay in prayer and fasting, and making sure that you be careful of who you let into your life and into your space, because you can be letting witches, demonic and spiritual entities into your life without even realizing it, until the attacks start to come. There's so much that I could say about this, and I can go on and on about it, but it all boils down to what I've said, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But if anybody else have any stories or have dealt with spiritual and demonic attacks personally, please leave a comment and kind of share your story, or things that you can do, you know, to help somebody that might be dealing with those, you know, demonic attacks and spiritual warfare. And with that, family, I'm gonna wrap up this video and say, bless to you all. Pray for healing. I pray for understanding and discernment, and keep your mind on what's important, and that's the Most High. Stay focused. I love you, family. Shalom.